On this episode of Real Estate on the Rocks, we're going to talk about the boring world of title insurance.
Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks, your favorite podcast. And in the studio today, I've got, normally? Is that a word?
It is today.
We'll just go with it.
It is today.
We've got Marshall Tucker.
What's going on, everybody?
We've got James the Butcher Mendez.
What's going on?
He's drinking coffee right now.
Waking up in the morning.
And like I said in the intro, we are going to talk about the boring world of title insurance with Wyatt Giles.
Now, hold on real quick. Okay, it is a little bit boring. But there's a lot more to title than you think. So
No, there's not.
There is though.
I don't even know what title insurance
I mean,
is.
it's only a state-mandated thing that you have to have. So
I
there
said
has to
100
be-
deals a year, and
Moderately
I don't know what
important.
the hell. I don't know what the hell title insurance
Well,
is.
and
So
that means that your title company's doing a good job then, because it's supposed to be seamless. You're supposed
There we
to,
go.
yeah. That's so we are responsible for making a seamless closing. So that's pretty important.
there you go. So like I said, we've got Wyatt Giles in the studio today. He is a title rep with,
Concierge title.
and you're located in.
Well, we're located in Austin. We can close all over the state of Texas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And Texas is a big state.
Yeah, it's my favorite state.
So let's go ahead and kick it off real quick. I've got a list of questions for you as
Okay,
always.
yeah.
So we're just going to go down the list here, not rapid fire. Let's just,
Yeah.
start some, conversation.
Have a conversation.
title. Usually when I see title folks, I go the other way.
That's so true.
They always want my business.
We're very salesy. Hey, do you want a pen? Do you want a pad? Huh? Hey, I got some mugs for you.
You want this day planner? Like, I will never use your day planner.
Right? Hey, let's have drinks. Let's have coffee. Come on. Yeah, right? Okay.
Can't you just drop off some Starbucks gift cards?
Concert tickets, maybe.
Yeah, concert tickets? Yeah, something like that. So, Wyatt Giles, tell me a little bit about Wyatt Giles. Who
Okay.
are you?
Fair enough. So born and raised here in Austin. Parents born and raised here in Austin. We're either too stupid to move or we liked it here. I don't know yet, but no, we. I used to own a construction company, and then I fell into this industry called title insurance. And I was like you. I was like, what the heck is this? And do you want me to talk a little bit about that right now?
Yeah, just kind of how you got into the business, and
Okay.
then we'll get into what title insurance is and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Just tell us about Wyatt Giles.
Sure. Okay. So fell into this business, and I was in sales. I worked at Dell for a little bit, and that good Lord, that office space that was me. I wanted to kick over my
Cubicle
maybe
beat up
start a
your friend.
fire. I don't know. Maybe should I not say that on the air? But anyway, then started my own construction company for 11 years. Worked 100 hours a week. That was not. I made some good money, but it's like, I need to get into something else. So fell into title. That's a longer story. I'll save that for another time. But fell into title nonetheless, and I've been here for 6 years. I've been in the industry for 6 years. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, real quick, what's your function with the title company? Are you a closer? Are you
No. Well, good question. So I am a title rep or salesperson, if you want to say that. Rep is just an easier, it doesn't sound salesy. My job is to procure business for my title company. So I am the guy who is supposed to bring by kolaches and donuts and
Top golf.
You like Top Golf?
love Top Golf.
Is that what gets your business? Is Top Golf?
Every time.
So but the thing is what we're doing is kind of what realtors kind of need to do with their on the ground as well as marketing.
Right, you're out building rapport with.
Well, I mean, I'm a title company. Now, my title company is different, and we can talk about that in a little bit, but title companies generally, by the state, can't buy business. So really, it's like bottled water. We're all selling the same product for the same price, but how do I get it to the consumer? So it's all about marketing.
That's a good analogy right
Yeah.
there. So where are you finding success into showing the people the benefits of using your title company?
Well, so my title company is a little bit different. So at Concierge Title, it's in the name, Concierge. A lot of times, and speaking of those people who maybe are with the title company currently or just getting into the business, generally you pay fees. So there's a state mandated premium. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's a sliding scale. Generally, you can 1% to 5%. And the more expensive the house gets, the lower the premium is. And that's mandated by the state. But on top of that, you're allowed to, via the title company, charge for courier fees, FedEx for mailing documents back and forth, and escrow fees. And that's operating costs, is quotations, operating costs, is how they get away with that. Well, we don't charge for any of that. We just charge for the premium only. So that's like $1,000 worth of savings per closing. Some people are interested. Some, real estate, like, I'm not paying for it. Well, your client is. You should be interested in that. But on top of that, usually you go to a closing office. We have some, if that's what you want to do, the traditional route. But we're on this age of marketing where everything's online. I mean, I'll bear to say it, Zillow. People go and they can tour a house online and everything's quick. We'll actually come to their business and close it. We'll go to their house and close it. We'll go to a bank and close it. We want to make it convenient for them so that anytime we can close on Saturdays. Obviously, we can't fund on Saturdays,
right? But
we can close on Saturdays. But yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty good explanation of it. Let me see here. Why do we have to have title insurance?
Okay, no, good question. So the first thing you said was boring. I'm over. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Because everyone says that. It's like title. Oh man, what does title do? Actually, it's a pretty important function. So a lot of times, why it is state mandated is because it protects the client, your client, the borrower, or an investor. So you're buying a house, we make sure that it is owned solely by that person. That's one function. So unfortunately, there's things that happen. Grandparents pass away and it's owned by several people. It's in a trust. So we have to go through that and make sure that all that legal paperwork and jargon coincides with to whom the owner is, and make sure those people are properly paid. Divorce happens, unfortunately. So we have to make sure that the angry spouse is not selling it while the other person's on vacation. And when you buy a house, you have someone who comes back and actually owns half your house.
Oh, wow.
That happens. But there's also more important things like easements. You also have power lines and pipelines and all kinds of things of that sort. So what we do is we have to go in and research all that stuff through the state level, through the county level, through the HOA level, and we go through all that and make sure that you actually have a product to sell and no one else owns it. And not only does not anybody else own it, but there's also not things on there that could take away from the value of it, like an easement or a pipeline going through it, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha. See, guys, that's not that boring.
Marshall, wake up. Okay. Marshall, wake up. Okay, that's the boring part. That's the boring part. Okay, yes. Yeah.
I'm sure that part can get, the research can get interesting though. Like finding it, like diving into, all the different areas to try and make sure that everything is valid or like on the right path. Finding, like hoping you don't find something,
it's definitely an personality job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not,
it's not something I want to do.
No,
that sounds interesting to James.
So I don't do that part of it.
I mean, it seems like, I'm sure you find that some people find, interesting things that pop up or like, things they didn't see, easements or pipelines or, wrong property lines.
Yeah.
I know someone else was telling me that they thought their property was certain dimensions.
So boundary lines. Yeah.
Was not at all where they thought.
When you come up to that kind of stuff, it's kind of nice. I mean, it's double-edged sword because sometimes you have to inform the seller that they in fact don't own that a lot of their property. So then the price has to come down and stuff. But yes, David, that part is boring.
Boring.
David fell asleep.
Snooze fest. Just kidding. I've known Wyatt Giles my whole life, and since we were kids. Yeah. And the funny thing is I think we used to explain Wyatt back in high school, or a couple years out of high school, which is funny because he's basically in the insurance business now. Is like Wyatt could have fun at an insurance seminar, because Wyatt was a wild child.
Speaking of,
I was a little wild.
We were all pretty we were all a little wild, but Wyatt stood out above us, which is saying something.
They said I could have fun in a room by myself.
Yeah,
right. In a padded room by myself. Yeah.
Things come full circle, and now he's in the insurance business pretty much. So, so he's obviously having fun. Yeah. So he can put a spin on these things to actually make them sound not so boring, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
I don't want these guys on the other end of this thing in their car right now, or out walking their dogs or whatever to tune us out.
Sure.
So thanks for giving us your spin on it. So tell me for some of the new agents that don't even know what title is yet. Okay. So when does title start for them?
Okay, fair enough. So it depends, right? I mean, get a good relationship and it can start right away. If you have some questions on an investment property that, hey, I don't know what the background is on this thing, and before I invest in it, we can start on that portion of you and give you like a preliminary title research. See if there's any tax liens. Liens being another thing that we research.
So just right off the bat, you can help out with that.
Yeah, but generally how you do and you turn it in is after you get a contract.
Yeah.
Once you get a contract, then you call the title company, and that's when the non-boring thing happens, because we help y'all out a lot, is because we start organizing the actual closing. And that's where you get paid. So that part's fun. I get to be at a lot of tables where people are excited about buying a house, who are excited about getting rid of a house. And so I'm there at one of the most fun times of the entire process, is when the actual contract is consummated.
So and I used to see this a lot when I first started. I guess title companies would have like mock closings for us to go in there and see kind of what goes on. And I mean,
I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, well, because we're not new, but
it's needed though. It's kind of common sense, but
yeah, and I think it's needed for some of the new agents there to not be so kind of like have that anxiety about going into a closing. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to look for.
Right.
And now I
don't want to look stupid.
Usually we get the HUD report or the closing statements a couple days beforehand, so we know. And they're pretty much perfect before we even go into title. But I've caught things at the title company before, sitting there like, hey, look, we were supposed to have a 50-50 split on this whole thing right here. Can we readjust this? And I know that it's something that's not going to have to be kicked back to the lender or whatever else. And we've had that too, where it's got to kick back to the lender, and
it is what it is.
Come back in 3 more days.
It is what it is.
And somehow nobody caught it. And so I feel sometimes like responsible that I didn't catch it. However, it wasn't my job to catch it. Maybe it was a title company screw up or a lender screw up. Typically, it's a lender screw up. I'll throw the lender under the bus.
No, don't do that.
It's never our lender, Mike Carroll, over at Guaranteed Rate. If you want to reach Mike Carroll, Magic Mike over at 880. I'm always throwing that plug in for him.
No, Mike Carroll's awesome though.
Yeah, we went to high school with us too. Yeah.
No, well, the thing is about him is that he's very thorough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, mistakes happen. We're humans, right? I mean, this thing is touched 8 hands before it gets to the closing table. I mean, there's underwriters. And
people don't realize it. And I think I hear about agents getting into title companies all the time and having little squabbles with them, or the title company screwed up.
Well, we're the punching bag.
It's a human thing. Well,
we're the punching bag. We are.
The realtor is always the punching bag.
No, well, hold on real quick. Okay, so y'all might be the punching bag, but y'all are our clients. So we take the hits too, because we want to keep on getting your business.
Right. You know how many title reps I know that were title escrow people that just get off the phone and roll their eyes. I've been in the office before, like, stupid realtor, and I'm like, hey, there's a stupid realtor down the hall.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm still here. Yeah, right.
Like, wait, that was me on the phone.
Right. Well, the thing, the real battle behind the scenes is the lender and the title company.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's important to make sure the title company gets along with the lender.
Shit, the real battle is the underwriter of the lender. That seems to be the biggest pain in the rear end person right there. Right. And that's you get it. I mean, after a while, you have to start understanding that person is representing, basically is underwriting the whole deal for the person who's lending the money.
Right.
Whether it's a person, whether it's a company, whether it's, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they're going to protect their investment. So they're going to look at it with a fine tooth comb. And
that also is important about, for the realtors out there is get a relationship with the lender. Don't just kind of jump around. That way you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know how that underwriter works.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Just out of curiosity. Do you think they should get a lender or several lenders? How do y'all usually?
We typically roll with one, because that person not necessarily just earned our business and we give everything to them. We do mention that we have a few lenders we can do, and then we tell them why we use Mike Carroll at Guaranteed Rate. I mean, I've been using Mike for about 7 years now, really since I got into the business. And he has never let us down once, and he's straightforward with us, which I love. Is that he comes out of right out of the box and says, "Look, I can't get this one done. You're gonna have to pivot and go another direction." And typically, if he can't get it done, nobody can. You know? And so he knows, he's been in the business long enough to know whether he can get it done or he can't, and just really typically by not even doing a hard credit pull. He knows. Like I talked to one of my clients. She's bought 3 homes from me. He calls the other day and she's like, "Hey, look, I've already talked to Mike. I just told him my situation. I didn't want a hard credit pull right now. And he knows that I'm good, so we're good to go up to this amount."
Awesome.
And so he can just basically tell by just doing a real quick overview of everything she's had over the past few years, and take her at her word that we can get this deal done. And I feel comfortable enough without pulling the hard credit that I can go out and look for homes without having that what's that called? Pre-qual.
Pre-qual.
You can tell I work with buyers a lot.
Yeah. Well,
That pre-qual letter until I actually need it, right? Until the last second I actually need it. So, and that's when I write the offer is when I need it.
Okay.
But most people, I just want to go ahead and mention right there too, is that Marshall gives me that all the time. It's like, hey, we want to submit on this, but I can't get a pre-qual. Mike's out of town right now or something. And it's just like, oh, well, we'll just call one of his people. But everybody needs to know that you don't need a pre-qual to submit an offer. Yeah. Right, that's not promulgated by the state of Texas that you need that.
It's just like a norm that people assume it is.
Right, it helps your chances.
Would you suggest you need to do it, though?
I typically would, because you don't want to waste anyone's time.
But don't just not do anything if you don't have a pre-qual.
Right,
get that offer.
Yeah. Get that offer in and get that ball rolling. Right, I have plenty of people that sit back and kick back and watch and say, hey, hold on, I need a pre-qual letter before I can do this. No.
Don't make an excuse not to do it.
Right, and so get it done. And every single time I tell these guys to write their offers first, and then we'll work on the pre-qual letter.
Right.
If Mike's at the grocery store with his family and you need it on the spot, you're more than likely not going to get it. It's going to be an hour or so, and we can get it. When he's out of town, I know that he can call one of his folks and have it done.
He's pretty quick.
Yeah, he's great with it. So, like I said, we're talking about Magic Mike over at Guaranteed Rates, and you can reach him at Magic Mike at 8800.
And he's awesome, by the way. Yeah. I'll suggest him as well. This is Wyatt. Yeah.
This is Wyatt.
I recommend it.
I highly recommend it.
All right. So, what are we missing here on the title insurance that maybe you could bring up? I mean, we know now when agents are going to start it. We know kind of what it is. We know. Let's go to the end of the transaction, right?
Sure.
So we're there. We're sitting down at the closing table. It's who are they sitting down with? Really, the escrow officers now.
So it all depends, right? I mean, a lot of times they'll sit down with the realtor. Depends on that. Most certainly, the lender can be there. At the end of the day, it really just needs to be the closer and the borrower and/or
the seller.
The seller,
right?
Yeah. So as far as title goes, I can talk a little bit about what they can help their clients with. What helps a realtor kind of get
Yeah, because when I started off, I was wondering. I didn't really know what title companies provide as far as marketing materials that you could courier the checks around and not actually have to show up and drop them off.
So much leverage a title company can provide for you.
Right.
What
kind of leverage you have?
And so that's the fun part, right? Is we actually get to help y'all complete this process. You give the title company that's going to be helpful, and then that benefits you. Y'all go on and y'all keep on selling. And supposedly it should be boring to y'all because we should be doing our job to where it is boring to where you don't even have to think about it again.
Everything's boring to me, so don't take offense to that.
No.
Everything besides this podcast to me is boring.
You're not the only one who said title's boring. I have to make it fun, like you said, but I have fun hanging out with people and helping. So you ask. A lot of times to help out your clients though is as far as before you can get to the you said underwriting with lending. Is get them and let them know that there's certain documents they're going to have to get together. You'll be amazed at how many people come into closing and don't have a valid driver's license. What? You're about to borrow how much money and you don't have a valid driver's license? It's weird, but make sure you say that to your clients. You would be amazed how many times people don't have it. So
you say, well, I didn't have to have it to vote,
right? Right. I didn't have to. Yeah,
I think you do.
No, you. Well,
I don't know. I use mine.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, that's a whole. We're not getting to politics.
Yeah, you do have to have it to vote. They're trying to get it to where you don't have to vote,
yeah,
right? Don't have to use it, which I think is kind of weird. But no worries, we won't spend this towards politics.
That's a different podcast.
It's a different channel.
We can go down that road. No.
David James throwing down in politics.
Other documents that you can say is obviously surveys and anything like that. Just tell them ahead of time that there's going to be some documents that you need prepared for. So surveys, anything they have on the home, find it. If it's up in Walla Walla, Washington in another file, go ahead and send for it to get sent over because we're going to need it. So those types of things help out. Yeah, I said Walla Walla, Washington, by the way.
I want to know why.
Yeah, it's my go-to far place. I don't know why.
There's a guy out there that does the Walla Walla Wednesdays.
Oh, really?
And so yeah, I'm a big marketing guy, so I study a lot of people. But there's a guy out there that does Walla Walla Wednesdays, and he's just some guy that just turns his cell phone around and has horrible audio and everything else. But he absolutely kills it in the business.
Does he?
Now he's added a drone to it and all this other
Seriously?
stuff. Oh yeah.
Oh.
And so just go to YouTube and look at Walla Walla Wednesdays.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't know why it stuck in my head a long time ago. It just makes
I've
me
just
laugh.
been so pissed that I can't find something that just rhymes like Walla Walla Wednesdays.
It's just a fun thing to say.
All the stuff that we do, like Walla Walla Wilco eats or
see, right? Well, you can't just say it. Walla 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 Wilco.
Just say it.
Onomatopoeia.
Just make it up.
Just make it up. Yeah, well, Yahoo started off like that.
Willy Wilco.
Yes. I would listen. I would listen. Onomatopoeia is another one. I don't know. It's just fun to say. Walla Walla.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to give them heads up that they need to have some documents and whatever documents that might be out somewhere else, so they have to go up in the attic and look through. Start that process. It's going to help them out. But as far as other things with title is go meet your title closer. Ask them to go to lunch, or they should ask you to go to lunch and get to know them.
Yeah. So we going to lunch after this, or what?
Heck yeah,
right.
yeah. Yes.
Barbecue Tuesday.
Yeah.
Score.
Oh, I'm in barbecue. Yeah, love barbecue.
So with that, like that's one of the biggest things that I see kicking back is I'm trying to make title interesting here once again is the surveys, right? So we had a problem with the survey the other day that half the seal was cut off. Now, obviously, the seal is on the damn piece of paper.
Sure.
However, just to move forward, I guess they needed a full copy from us. Why?
Fair enough.
Why on some it seems that we can use a handwritten sketch on some title. Some title companies take a handwritten sketch, and then some, just have to be perfect and updated. Well,
a lot of that is
just the standards of the underwriter.
It might be the standards of the underwriter. Also, sometimes that pushes back to the lender.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, but it's all about meets and bounds, right? Yeah. We have to protect the client at the end of the day, because it's insurance. We have to pay the total amount of the property if we're wrong.
Yeah. What's the biggest payout you've ever been a part of?
Not much.
Give me the industry then. So
the industry, the industry.
There's rumors out there that there was a couple fellows that started a title company. It's not a rumor; it's a fact.
Yeah.
They started a title company. They were big balling, out of control, and doing their thing because they both had separate real estate practices. Then they had the title company, and then something went awry, and there was a claim, and they're like, "Oh crap! I can't pay this claim." So it doesn't work. We don't need the inner workings or inner names.
No.
I just thought it was interesting because that's a title company, something that I would love to start someday if my business got big enough. Because it doesn't make sense unless you're doing 30 to 40 transactions a month to have your own title company.
Okay, so so real quick, good question by the way. That's an excellent question.
One of these questions is going to be great. They've all been good so far.
I'm searching for a great question.
No, that was I was something I would want to bring up, and I wasn't thinking about it. And usually I do talk about it. So we have an underwriter. So most insurance companies have underwriters. So we go with, and there's like 10 major ones in the United States. We have 2, Chicago, First American. A lot of those are underwriters. So we're with 2 of the majors. It's not about if we have money or not. Once we put it with the underwriter, they're the ones who are insuring and guaranteeing it. So most title companies, if you start it and they go out of business, you still have your policy is great. So it doesn't worry about that. It's just you have to worry about the underwriter and not necessarily the title company. So good question. And then as far as that goes, you're guaranteed no matter what. I've been with another startup title company, and that was a big sales problem. Like, are y'all going to go out of business? It doesn't matter.
It seems to be that, in different parts of the U.S., I see title companies pop up and title companies dissolve rather quickly, or something happens where they get tripped up over a claim, and then they have to go out of business. So
it's not claims. It's not claims.
Nope. Okay, so I don't understand it, obviously.
Okay, so no. So you have the Texas Department of Insurance. Mm-hmm. What could put a title company out of is it not being compliant.
Okay.
So it's compliancy. It's pushing
like RESPA and those
it's like pushing titles through that shouldn't have been pushed through.
Am I putting you on the spot?
No.
What is RESPA? Because I always hear hey, can we do this over there? Like, no, that violates RESPA. I'm like, what is RESPA?
What is RESPA?
You have a respiratory effect.
Okay, so what it is you're not putting me on the spot at all. I heard title used to be very
the Wild West,
very not boring. Like we were taking. I was in the industry at the time, taking people on helicopter rides and.
I've heard worse,
written mentions. Oh yeah,
I didn't know you did that.
We don't.
Topgolf is out.
Hey, yeah.
2 helicopters.
Concierge title. Not playing. Absolutely not. We're not allowed to. We are actually not to quotes not supposed to buy any business.
Right.
What happened is that they were the Texas Department of Insurance deemed that we were using consumer money to get their own business. So we were spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars, printing all the marketing material. That is a RESPA violation. Title companies do it. I'm not ratting anybody out, but you're not really supposed to get any print materials because we're paying for something for you to get business. That's against Texas Department of Insurance.
Gotcha. Better explanation. Thank you.
So we're not allowed to buy business. We're able to go out and eat lunch and talk about business, but we're only supposed to do that a certain amount per year.
Probably like any company that has a budget, right?
Right.
And you've got to make sure that stretches every month. I mean, back when I was in sales, I was allotted, basically a per diem, and then what I could spend a month. Right. And if I spent all that on one client, trying to procure their business or win them over, I was screwed with everybody else. So you learned real quickly to, just kind of who you could take to lunch, when you could, and it had to become very strategic.
Well, it's smart.
Just like working your database, right?
Yeah.
You're spending the same amount of money on our database these days. However, it's I'm not throwing all my money just at one thing at one time. I'm splitting it up. So it's probably the same way with you guys, right?
And then but there's also boring things that I won't get into. Filing systems I won't. But they bore me too, and I'm actually not going to go into them because I don't know much about them. But because they are boring, is filing systems and things like that. That compliance on a compliance level. They have heavy fines coming down from Texas Department of Insurance.
Yeah.
And that's what will put a company out, is the inexperience on that level.
All right.
Yeah.
And so where do you see most of the agents these days? What in your opinion, you help agents with their business first starting off. This podcast is tuned in or turned towards of the new agents coming to the business or people returning back to the business, or even we have seasoned veterans that listen to our stuff.
Sure.
But you helping a new agent come into the business, I mean, typically you're wanting to help them so they do more deals, so they bring more title to your company, and it's that process of what's that called? I always talk about it.
Ebb and flow?
No. Just kind of like it's just a reciprocating
value
thing.
Right.
Yeah, so it just keeps going. So what is the value you can give to a new agent coming into the business if they team up with you?
I was thinking Circle of Life, Lion King.
Like
Lion King. Like that music came in my head right there, Lion King. It's the circle of... I'm sorry, I won't sing. Sorry.
Is that like a baby Dave?
Repetitious cycle is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so there's new agents. I mean, it's no like BS that 8 out of 10 agents fail in this business.
Right.
So that's a doom and gloom number. However, it's the facts.
It's
and so
very, very
you
true.
see a lot of new agents coming into the business, and how can you help somebody? If one of our listeners was to reach out to you and talk to you about concierge title, and what could you do to help their business? I mean, what could you help them do with their business?
So I coach a lot of people, and that's part of what our value add is title companies is coaching. We either help facilitate coaching or we coach ourselves. But being in the industry for 6 years, I get a lot of questions. And starting real estate agent, I think one of the things I see most, and we were talking about this before the podcast, is they want to spend a lot of money on marketing and all these different apps and everything that all the different title companies are selling you that you need to get, and or other podcasts are telling you need to get. And all of them are good ideas separately. Don't do them all at once.
Yeah, why not?
Because you don't know which one's working. If you spend all this money and you're getting stuff in, it's hard to, quantify which one's working.
Right. So that's interesting because you're never in a room with us. I don't even know if you've ever listened to our podcast, but that's one thing that we talk about the most is there's about 7 forms of direct income producing activities that you can be doing. However, if you do all 7 of them, you're doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
If you drill down to one primary and then 2 supportive activities, then, that one primary you could grow. If you double down on that for 365 days, what would that be? And so you have to do something you're comfortable with. So a lot of times we have agents ask us kind of what we do, and a lot of our stuff, what we started our business doing is not what we do now.
Right.
And people want to start what we do or other agents that are being successful are doing now. And they don't realize there's a whole 7 years behind that. Or like for Marshall, there's 5 years behind that, or for James, well, never mind about James, but it's just, we just like to give James a hard time. Why he keeps looking at me like man, he's really mean to this guy.
No, I'm looking at I'm a people observer, so I'm just seeing how this works.
3 years ago. That was me.
Yeah, was it?
Right, yeah.
Hey,
So they
so
switch seats and stuff.
the secret is you need to hire someone underneath you. I'm just letting you say, you just learn from him, hire someone underneath you, and then it passes on quickly. Start interviewing tomorrow.
All right, I'll start doing that.
The Butcher. That's why he's got the name The Butcher.
The Butcher.
Yeah.
So I have some. I mean, other things that I like to talk to real estate agents about is no one really gets right into real estate.
Right.
They have another career beforehand. Yeah, there's some young ones out there, and I applaud them. And maybe this is not to you, but you even have experience level then. You know, some of them were teachers, cops.
Plenty of cops.
You have all kinds of different fields of expertise, and when I sit down and I interview them, I ask them, so what did you used to do? You know, and because this is a sales job, and we've all do sales in every industry we've been in, right? Teachers have to sell to kids and talk them into learning and all this creative marketing that they have to use to get their attention, to make sure that they pay attention to what they're trying to say. I said, utilize that as a teacher with your clients. Think about it, the same process. Don't think that you haven't been in a sales job all your life. You have.
Right.
And so I try to take, also on a marketing level, I'll sit down with them and, say, well, it looks like work. Real estate looks like work if you're going to make money. There's nothing easy about it. Not one thing. If you're in this business because you're going to make a quick buck and you're going to do it on the side and you see your friend who made that $7,000 paycheck, you're like, man, I could use that every month. It's not that easy. And so I'm the bearer of, I'm going to shoot them straight. Yeah. Because that way they can get to working. You know, I'm not going to film with a bunch of, like I say, picture in picture, right? And I use that analogy because a lot of people used to buy TVs because it had picture in picture. You could watch 2 shows at one time. But you're like, I'm going to buy that TV. It's picture in picture, man. I could see 2 shows at one time. You bought it. You brought it home. How often did you use that? Never. So is to take away some of that fluff and things around them and actually show them what it looks like to work. And I mean, it's boots on the ground.
Yeah, it's hard work.
It's boots on the ground.
And we get a few people here and there that tune out from us or don't want to talk to us, I'd say, because we really present that truth to them, that how hard a work it is, and they don't want to hear that. They want to be, and I think a lot of brokers are doing that these days, is sugarcoating the business, right? Sure. And they're just getting them to hang out until something happens. Right. You know, and I can guarantee if you got 2 years or 3 years to hang out and then something's going to magically happen for you, that's fantastic. However, it's not going to. And then I think there's also the folks that come into the business that might have a deal attached to them. You know, they have a family member,
mom, dad, cousin, sure,
something like that, and so they immediately get to quote air quotes success, and then they've become just kind of like how easy this is, and then 2, 3, 4 months down the road they still haven't closed anything else. They're not doing any leasing. They haven't. No one's taken them under their wing. They haven't talked to a great title company like you that can help them start their career and do the things they have to do. But that's the problem right there, is that most people don't want to do what they have to do to be successful.
Sure.
And we learned the definition of success yesterday was to get the things that you want. Was that what it was?
Get what you want.
Yeah, to get what you want. That's the definition of success. Right. And so if you're getting what you want, so what do you want out of this business, right? Do you need 1 deal a month? I mean, I think on a different level a lot of times is that I want to do 100 deals a year, right? And so that's where my mindset is. And then I talk to a lot of people and I forget that that's not their mindset. They might only want to do.
That's a lot of work, by the way.
Right.
100 deals, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, they might only want to do 12 deals a year.
Right.
Okay, so you have to still do the things that are going to bring you a deal a month. Right. So a lot of realtors they discover very quickly that they had false expectations and get into this business with false hope that things were going to be handed to them. Even when you jump on a team, we've talked about the team stuff before. And so, it's you can only, your expectations have to so I just think you do a good job about setting expectations for new agents.
Well, I try. Well, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, because being in the business just like anything else, right? Real estate agents and lenders and developers. I work with a lot of developers and builders. Those are my clients. So I have to kind of interview them, right? I will put a lot of time into people, and I want to educate people, but I also had to find my right clientele as well.
Right.
And so I'd find the people who kind of get that. And so I kind of go quickly through, which I try to tell realtors as well. You kind of have to interview your clients as well, so you don't waste your time. Every time you're away from your kids and your family, that's what kind of kills people. Like, it didn't work out again.
Yeah.
Is identifying those opportunities so that you know that it's worth leaving your kids and husband or wife or spouse. But don't be mad at yourself for not identifying. It takes, like you said, 2 to 3 years to kind of start identifying your clients.
Yeah, and if you don't have the 2 to 3 years to invest in it,
right.
It's you might want to rethink the getting into this business or just kind of continuing in it if you're not seeing a lot of success and you're not barreling down and doing one of those 7 direct income producing activities at a high level.
Right.
And you're just waiting around for something to fall in your lap.
Right.
And you're asking people every time you talk to them to call me. Right. If they need anything, hey, call me when you're ready to buy.
Yeah, hand them a card. No, I am your realtor, and I'll start working for you tomorrow. When are you available next week? That's
go for the appointment.
You go for the appointment. Don't tell them to give you a call back when they're ready. Say, hey, let's meet next week.
Yeah, I think people are a little bit they're just too timid when it comes to this, and they're afraid to ask for the business.
It sells.
It's sales. But I mean, if you ask, like I saw this the other day on one of the Facebook pages was, is being a real estate agent, sales, and the crowd split 50-50. And, we're not salespeople, we're realtors, and I don't sell anything. And typically you don't sell anything, right? You facilitate opening the door, writing the contracts, things like this. I don't walk in and sell them something. There's nobody going to have buyer's remorse in the morning for writing a contract or selling their home with me, right?
Right.
And so, it's not like selling a product like a TV.
No, agreed.
Or something like that where you're like, I shouldn't have bought that TV. No one says, I shouldn't have bought this $700,000 house. God dang it. Like you had
buyer's remorse.
Yeah, you had 35 days to think about it.
Yeah.
And so sales to me is for real estate agents is where I become, like I always identify, like I don't like to identify as a realtor. We've had this conversation before. Sure. But I like to identify as a sales professional that buys and sells real estate.
And so it's because sales always has that kind of, or a salesperson has that negative connotation that comes to it.
Right.
And generally out in the public, when I'm talking to the consumer, I don't use it. Because it sometimes does. And so I agree with people arguing that you would want to be referred to as a realtor and not a salesperson. I get that. But we're talking to realtors right now, and in a sense, you're selling. You are a salesperson.
I tell it to my clients all the time. It's like, I'm a salesperson, and it doesn't scare them away because that's who they're hiring.
Sure.
A salesperson to get the job done.
Get the job done.
And so my deal is when I'm going out, I'm trying to get people to know, like, and trust me and build rapport with them. And that's what a great salesperson does.
Right.
Is they build the great rapport. They get them to know, like, and trust me, and never once do they question, how I know you, how, they don't trip over any of like, well, how am I in business with this guy? They know. Right. They know that I came over and I got to know them. I built rapport with them. I don't want anything from them, and I don't have commission breath, and I build a great relationship with them. And
commission breath. What's that?
That's when you're doing everything just to make money, and it's very
fair enough.
Yeah, it's very.
Let's get this in close.
Right.
Can we do it Tuesday? Can we do it Wednesday? Can we do it Thursday?
It's just the pushy,
it doesn't matter.
Like, this is the house for you. Things like that.
Oh, I can see you in it.
I do say that stuff. Now, I don't say this is the house for you, but I'll say, okay, out of everything that we saw today, which one did you like more?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and eliminate the ones that you didn't like and knock it down to at least 2 so we don't confuse ourselves.
Sure.
Right? And so I don't ever like to lose control of the situation, being that, yes, Mr. Mrs. Buyer, Mr. Mrs. Buyer typically is there's going to be a home coming on the market every single day. Right. However, you have no time to sit here and look at that coming out every single day, right? So I'm there to remind them of the reasons why maybe that they contacted me in the first place, the reason why we came in contact with each other, why I'm their agent, or why they're using me. I'm there to remind them all the time that we have goals. Okay, when we first started out, you said that you wanted I had a client. He wanted a small 1-story with a smaller lot because he didn't want to mow it, but big enough for his dogs, all this great stuff. His different culture, so the house had to face a different way.
Oh, wow.
And everything else. They ended up buying the biggest 2-story on the street with the biggest yard I've ever seen in my life. There wasn't acreage. It was just a yard, But they ended up buying the complete opposite of this whole thing. And through the process, I would remind him that, well, we started out looking for this.
Right.
If you're going to consider something like this or stop by open houses like this, let me change your search search. And as soon as I did, we were able to find the biggest monstrosity in the damn neighborhood. You know?
And that sells, right? I mean,
I still think he's looking for his dogs that he let out back just to go pee. And the yard was that damn big.
Really?
Yeah. The yard's that big.
They don't make them that big anymore.
No, it's that cul-de-sac lot that fans out to the big pie in the back. You know,
Well, like when we were younger, every yard had big yards.
Oh yeah. I mean, now they're just you can jump roof to roof on places.
Which would be fun.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Let's go do it.
Hey, no, absolutely not. I
can't do that. I can record that.
No, I couldn't make
record
it.
that.
No.
I think I'm pushing about 285. I'll probably throw right through somebody's roof these days.
Oh man, I wouldn't even make it across.
Well, this season they'll probably think I'm Santa Claus.
Look, Mom,
you crashing? Ho
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, man. So once again, we got Wyatt titles here.
Hey, I'll go buy it. Hey, Wyatt Title
It's like
Giles.
Walla Walla Wednesdays.
Walla Walla Wyatt. Yeah, there we go.
Title Giles. Anyway, let's go ahead and get out of the studio real quick. Wyatt, how can they get a hold of you?
It's easy. 512-983-7769. That's 512-983-7769. Call me. I'll answer any question you have whatsoever.
So obviously we have listeners that are all around the world. We've seen on our tracking through our podcast software. So that's not limited to Texas. Anybody can call you. Just maybe
Sure.
that phrase I don't like, pick your brain, but however. Pick
No,
your brain.
and for those people, I'll give an email address as well, because some people like to communicate that way. It's wgiles, WGILES at ctotx.com.
Sweet. Thanks for not ripping through that.
Oh, I usually do. I'm texting like ctotx.com.
And real quick, I want to remind our listeners, if you want to be a part of Marshall Tucker's referral network, please send an email over to info@realestateontherocks.com.
Anyway, thanks for listening today. We're going to go ahead and bring in Magic Mike one more time. So Guaranteed Rate is the sponsor of our show. We absolutely love Mike to death for other reasons than he just gives us money. So Magic Mike at 88000. If you need us for anything, just reach out to Top Shelf at 88000. And remember, we are EXP agents. If you want to have that conversation about EXP, text Join EXP to 88000. See you next time.